do you think that red pill is kind of just like the woke movement of the right? And then kind of like on the left, like they call themselves woke, but we call ourselves red pill over here.
Okay,
so just for some of the people, obviously.
Do you remember there's the difference between BLM and BLM, right? BLM the movement and BLM the organization. Black Lives Matter. Okay, BLM the movement. I get it, man. You saw some George Floyd getting killed. There's no reason that motherfucker should have had somebody sit on his neck for that long. And he's from here. He's from Port Arthur. That shit made me mad, right? When I saw that, I understand BLM the movement, BLM the organization. We're a bunch of corrupt motherfuckers trying to steal your money. Do you understand the difference?
Yeah.
Okay. So red pill is like that. Me and fucking Rolo. Rolo teaches red pill. I am red pill adjacent, to be honest with you. But I don't call myself a gravityist, but I believe in gravity. It's like that. Red pill to me is a technology that people use, and they can use it for good or bad. If I teach you about gravity, the formula for gravity that's in the book Principia, written by Isaac Newton in 1689, if I show you that force, you can say, okay, I'm going to go against this force and go up this river. Or I can say, I'm going to build a hydroelectric dam and I'm going to get rich.
Yep.
You have the choice to go with this force of gravity or against it. Red pill, what it does is it displays hypergamy, preselection, things like this that are realities. But where do these realities come from? Where are they exposed and where are they described in evolutionary studies? So red pill, as it is a derivative of evolutionary studies, I'm all for that. Once we get to a point where now, as a misogynist, I'm like, well, I'm looking for something on this 4chan website that really goes along with my beliefs. Red pill, yeah, let's do the red pill shit.
Yeah.
I got news for you. Rich Cooper and fucking Rollo Tomasi don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
When you sit there and talk about you fucking hate women. They don't.
Sorry, guys.
They don't fucking hate. They don't believe that. If you want to say the guy that I'm most aligned with, it's Justin Waller. That's why he and I are such good friends.
Dude, I agree with Justin on everything. Men need women fall into their role if a man is in his role. That's my favorite thing he says all the time. Yeah,
for sure. But Justin and I get the same. I've only had a couple conversations with Tristan, but Tristan and I probably were pretty similar. Tristan also, he's not judgmental of sex workers like other people are. I don't want to marry a sex worker, but like if people want to make their own fucking decision, here's the problem, right? When I hear, because we were gonna your boy a poor man was gonna come on here. I was very excited to meet him. One of the issues is when we get into an evangelical discussion where we talk about what's right and wrong. That's a good thing to have, and it should be in your community, and especially in your house with your kids. The discussion about right and wrong is important. When we start believing that the Overton window is going to shift back in the opposite direction, now we're fucking delusional. Okay. In 1961, for those of you who don't know what Overton window is, in 1961, if you go in front of the House and the Senate and you were to say something to the effect of, I believe that homosexual men should be able to get married anytime in any state they want, not only would they not listen to you, they would laugh your ass off the fucking state. Whatever, you stupid mother. They would laugh at you. In 2022, if you go up there, unless you're Clarence Thomas, in 2022, if you go up there and you say, I would like to make gay marriage illegal in all 50 states, they would laugh at you. That's just the same way. The Overton window had shifted 180 degrees from the 1960s to the 2022. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The Overton window tends to move to the left all the time. And part of the reason why is because of technological advancement. Like the idea of like socialism doesn't work because we have a finite economy. If we had the economy that Ray Roddenberry, what's his name? Gene Roddenberry had in Star Trek, where we had replicators that could replicate food and we had infinite supply, then socialism would work. But socialism doesn't work because the world doesn't work that way. Does that make sense?
Finite, yes.
It's finite. Now, as technology it allows us to acquire these resources cheaper and cheaper, which it should, but doesn't always do that, then we can get closer to a more egalitarian society. But we have to be realistic about that. Does that make sense? The answer is technology. When people say, is the answer conservatism or progressivism? No, the answer is technology. The answer is technology. Again, when there was a bunch of horse doo-doo all over the streets of New York 200 years ago, the answer was not, how do we get rid of this horse doo-doo? Henry Ford invented the automobile, and the fucking drawn carriages were gone in like 10 years. And all the poop was gone. The answer was technology. Does that make sense?
What do you think about Zeitgeist? Have you seen Zeitgeist? The Venus Project.
Which one is that?
Is a video came out in 2006, made by what was his name? I can't think of his name, but it was just a guy that basically showed, everything that we know about the financial situation, the political situation, how there's no fixing to all this, but basically egalitarian society. What's the word for it? Whenever you think it's going to be a perfect society. Yeah, I can't think of the word for it.
I'm not against an egalitarian society, but I also know that there has to be productive, competent men at the head of the society, breaking down doors when there's a fire, building the buildings when a building needs to get built. You know what I'm saying? like
I think 3D printers are going to be building soon.
okay, even so then that's the case. Now we free up some of these people to do other things.
Yeah.
I'm with you, but until that case, until the 3D printers build the buildings, it's going to be men building those buildings.
Yep.
As much as we want to shame them, that's the jobs that they're going to take, and we have to recognize that. We had discussions in this country about petroleum for years, and now Elon Musk makes these electric cars. It's possible in the next 20 years that we may have electric cars, and we may not need petroleum anywhere near as much as we do now. I don't have a political stance for or against that. Okay. Right. It's really funny that the people who defend the petroleum companies are the same people that don't believe in dinosaurs, which is where the fucking petroleum came from.
It's some goofy shit.
that is the point. They don't believe that dinosaurs existed. It's the same people. No, but the fact of the matter is, I remember when Elon Musk came up with the idea for the electric car, and conservatives were like, no, because you're going against that's not possible. But it was possible. Okay, now that it's possible, new evidence has entered into the equation. Now my opinion on this has changed, because if you'd asked me in 1985, can we get off petroleum? I'd be like, you're out of your fucking mind. The prices for everything would skyrocket if we got rid of oil reserves. Of course we need oil. But now it's like, okay, I'm starting to see it. Maybe this will work. It to a certain extent, but new information has to come into the system. Technology will be the solution to all these questions. It's not going to be Keynesian economics, and it's not going to be trickle down economics. It's going to be the answer is always technology. The problem is technology doesn't have a political party, and so people don't like to get behind it. You understand what I'm saying? Those motherfuckers at Boston Dynamics are making those androids or whatever. They are going to be the ones that end up solving a bunch of these problems. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's what's going to.
Another big astrophysicist that I like a lot is Michio Kaku, and one of the things that he said was that the reason why we don't see so many advanced civilizations in space and stuff like that is because there's a point whenever a civilization gets so smart that you're trying to become a type 1 civilization, type 1, type 2, type 3, and most of them don't make it to that type 1. You know, like, do you think that we're going to end up killing ourselves, you know, or do you think that we'll make it?
People have a lot of problem with this. I definitely don't think the species makes it a million.
See, I'm such an optimist, and like that's why I do my show. I want to ask, do you know what purple pill is? Have you ever heard of purple pill? AMS says the definition.
The concept of a mix between red and blue.
No, well, I like AMS's definition. I'm not really a mix. I'm very red pill. My relationship is very red pill. I'm very red pill about it. I just don't like to cheat, and I don't believe in certain things like that. But AMS's definition is a red pilled person that still chooses to be in relationships, because obviously you got to be crazy to still want to be in a relationship if you know red pill stuff.
I think there's some red pill guys that are in relationships.
Well, yeah, there's tons. So all my favorite speakers in red pill are people like you that are in relationships, but you're very red pill, you know?
Well, I got news for you. You guys out there that are listening to red pill guys that aren't in relationships are actually in relationships. Yes, they are. They're in relationships, very much not like the ones that they're describing to you. And that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just letting you know.
It's a secret.
Well, dude, social media is fake, and I'm okay with that, right?
Yeah,
Rule number 4.
I know it's all it's all, and I always tell them all that, like, I always try to make it clear that everything that they're doing is to just make money. It's for profit. Like I explained how
it doesn't mean that it's fake, or it doesn't mean that it's not exactly true, but like, you know, the thing that you
exaggerate.
Yes, one of the things in MOA that I try to do things that are a little different from other coaches, because I've been exposed to so many self-help coaches over the years. Like, for one thing, there's no fourth wall. When my cat, one of my animals has kidney failure, and I'm going to have to put her down, and it's traumatic. And I told all my clients, I'm like, hey man, this is because all my clients knew who this cat was. The cat would crawl across the screen whenever I would do my calls, right? And I would tell them that. Or if I was going through a breakup, there is no fourth wall in my program. And the reason why I do that is because I see so many guys that only show a certain part of themselves in their program. Does that make sense? I also give when guys fuck up, I don't yell at them and scream at them. I'm like, hey man, I want to let you know we're all here for you. We're all on your side, but this is why this would work and this would not work. Let's go ahead and make this decision and not put emotion into it. None of this is personal. Nothing in MOA is personal. So that that's another thing. I teach the course as if I'm a military instructor, and a lot of people can't register with that. Or a lot of people, especially those who pay me a lot of money, they're like, I want you to tell me what I want to hear. And I'm like, I can't tell you what you want to hear, but I can tell you the truth.
Yeah.
If that's essentially what you want to hear. And so that becomes problematic. But as far as what you're saying, it's the red pill guys who come after me too, because I have female friends, right? They have a super hard fucking problem with that. But the reason why
very similar issues.
But the reason why they have a problem with it is not because I'm saying I have female friends. It's because I'm saying I have female friends, and then they want to talk shit, and then they go to my Instagram and they see me with 16 Playboy models, and they know which ones I'm dating, and they're like, fuck, like how can it feels very much like when Galileo told the Pope in 1642 that the earth goes around the sun, and doing so they put him on house arrest for the rest of his life until 1992, when he was finally forgiven by the Catholic Church. When I tell red pill guys, not only can you have female friends, motherfucker, you should have as many as you can, but you can't do it if you don't have abundance. Regular average dude trying to have a ton of female friends, you're just going to be going home and jerking off, crying yourself to sleep because you're around all these fucking hot girls. I legitimately am friends with some of these girls because there's so many other beautiful women in my life that I know that are attracted to me. I don't have a problem. Like a great quote that Bilzerian told me one time. He goes, if I had 16 dicks, I couldn't fuck all these girls, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of these situations where you have so much abundance in your life, you can't help but have female friends. The whole idea of having female friends, club promoters never disagree with me on this because they're like, dude, I got too many girls. There's no way I can't just go mode one with 45 girls. Or the other guys, the guys who run strip clubs always have female friends because they're like, bro, I need this girl to be my lieutenant and help me with these girls in the locker room, or else this fucking place is going to be chaos. I've got to have assistants, people to help me with this. Fucking, what's it called? Rolla calls them allies, or colleagues. I forgot what Rich Cooper, he had a different name for him for what I was talking about. To me, maybe acquaintances or teammate. If you guys are super red pill, you don't like that word, female teammates. You got female teammates that are on your team, ready, break, and we're going to go run the pick and roll and try to score on this defense. That's what I do. The other thing that happened for me that was just the biggest eye opener is I would meet girl after girl after girl, and they would say to me, and I would be like, so I meet 5 girls, stunning, my type of girl. And I'd be like, how'd you meet your man? How'd you meet? And I'd ask them about the last 3 to 5 guys they had sex with. And the answer was always, I met him through a female, 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 met him on Instagram. It was never met him doing day game, cold approach day game at North Park Mall. That was never the fucking answer.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, day game gets a 0. Meeting through female friends gets 80%, and then the other 20% was Instagram. Okay, got it. Now I understand. Now I started with them and worked backwards as opposed to like listening to what guys were telling me online. It's like, no, if you just have game and just go up in Piccadilly Circus and talk to these girls, go through, North Park Mall. And no, man, that's not what I'm here. When I'm talking to these hot girls, that's not what's happening. That's not where they're meeting these guys.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what, but back to your thing about what Carl Sagan said. The reason why we're not going to bump into other civilizations, I know there's a big change of direction here, but you asked me an astrophysics question, and that's my favorite subject.
Hell yeah.
Is the idea, Proxima Centauri. It's called Proxima Centauri because it's the closest proximity to the Earth. Proxima Centauri is 4.1 light years away. That's 24 trillion miles away at like some small percentage of the speed of light. It'd take 175,000 years to get there. That's why we're not bumping into other.
Yeah, that's another big
that's
reason.
Actually, that's the biggest and probably the only reason why. The other thing is, I believe if humanity, for all of you know, ready? I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this. In 3 billion years, the sun is going to eviscerate the fucking planet that you're on. This planet won't exist. And I don't mean like figuratively won't exist. The sun is going to turn into a red giant and it's going to engulf the earth. If you have a problem with what I'm just saying, you will find at least 400 fucking videos on YouTube expressing how this works. This is the normal life cycle of a I forgot what the title of our sun is, but our sun is a certain type of, like a white dwarf, or I forgot what our I think it's a white dwarf. That's what our sun is. There's a certain timeline. At the end of the timeline, what happens is there's not enough hydrogen in the core. The force of gravity slows down, or it lessens to the point where the outside, the corona starts to expand, and the corona is going to expand out to the orbit of Earth. It's going to engulf Mercury and Venus. They're going to be sucked in, and then as the orbit of the Earth gets slowed down through the hydrogen particles, it's going to fall into the sun. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen to the planet you live on. Get ready. Nothing lasts forever.
That's why we gotta leave, guys. With Elon,
that it is going to end, but it's in 3 billion years. I don't think this planet's gonna. I don't think humans are gonna make it that long. Let's say I give humans low in another 50,000 years. Now, if that's the case, you have to have your 50,000 year spot connected to their 50,000 year spot, and then you have to take the time it takes from you to get from like fucking Vega or Polaris to back to the Earth. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And we have to match up at the right time. It's not that there's these type 1 civilizations. They have to not obliterate themselves during the time period that we're around, and has to be after the 1930s when we start sending out electromagnetic signals. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What's the first thing when another civilization finds our planet? What's the first radio signal they're going to see? Do you know what it is?
The one that we originally sent out saying like hello or something.
No,
whatever our first radio signals were, which was TV,
which was a speech carried all around the world by Adolf Hitler.
Oh yeah, that was the very first one.
That was the very first worldwide televised broadcast. Now, what you're talking about is Voyager 1 and 2 that had all these things on it. That was launched in 1977 and has escaped the Earth, the solar system.
But yeah, the waves that are leaving since the early 1900s started with that. Yeah,
correct. That's
the first thing that will reach somebody.
Yes.
Another thing I really wanted to ask you about, this is well, I guess first I'll tell you like the tree that I teach, I guess you can say, that I teach men and women, and then where I did like in that tree you'll see that I disagree with something big about red pill. I think that the biggest thing men need is to be provision. They have to be like the top of my pyramid. They
Sure.
have to be a provider. I preach nothing but
Hold on.
provisioning.
With respect to society or women?
Uh, well, both, I guess. Like, I want them to be a provider in the sense that they may. It's the way I see it. It's 10,000 years ago. You know.
Do you understand there are men who are complete despots and all they do is sleep with women and provide nothing?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
They're super famous, or what's it called? Ishmael or Ishmael the Bloodthirsty with 800 children. There's a few men that provide nothing, and then there's a few men that all they do is provision, and then their wife cheats on them.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking: is it more important for that as far as society or as far as women?
To get relationships.
Okay.
I want them to be, because since my show is a dating show and I want people to be in relationships, I'm always pushing for whatever so I'm always saying provisioning is at the top, and then right under that is social security, which means like, do you have a group of friends, a good family, people around you? Where are you at in your hierarchy of the people around you?
So this is your Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, well, and then so since that's my tree for men, and then for women, I say beauty is at their top. They need to have, because basically I say that for men, you need a provider because that's what's going to get you in the door. Yep. Like a woman's going to see, oh, he has this car, he has this house, he has these things, he's a provider for these things. Yeah. But then they're going to see your security, and that's what locks them in. They're going to want to stay for a month, 2 months when they see the social security.
Okay, so this is the other question I have for you. This is to have a long-term relationship.
Yes, yes,
okay.
yes.
So this is not just for sex.
Yes, yes, not just for sex. And then for women, I tell them they need to, at the very top of their pyramid is for beauty. They're going to get the best man based off of their beauty and how much they leverage it to get in the door. And then once they're in the door, they have to help him with certain things, bring certain to be complimentary in some way, whether that's helping out around the house or doing something like that. So
the only thing I would say is, while I do think beauty is the most important thing initially, I think the most important thing for a woman that I would settle down with is going to be loyalty. And it's going to be loyalty.
I should definitely add that in. Yeah.
So it'd be loyalty and agreeable. Again, this going back to Dr. David Buss, which type of the high status men, which type of women do they want? Agreeableness is like at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Agreeableness and loyalty, and agreeableness meaning allowing me to lead.
I always say the first thing to get in the door, and then the second thing I say what locks them in. So I would say loyalty is one of the things that mostly locks them in. But the reason why I bring that up is because a lot of the guys I argue with in the red pill community, they're all gym goers. I'm the only one that doesn't go to the gym. Really? I went through a steroid phase years ago when I was like 23 years old. I'm 31 now, so that was a long time ago. I know a lot about steroids. Did
you ever get your endocrine system checked since then?
No, it's been a while. But since that happened though, I don't. Like I understand the gym. I think it is a good thing if you're overweight or if you're too small. Sure. But I don't think it's necessary. Like I'm very. Did you see Connor Murphy's new documentary he just made? He just made a doc. I didn't even know who this guy was until 2 days ago on Trill Team Stream. I saw him and I learned about him. But basically, he went through the same phase I went through years ago, where you learn about yourself and insecurity and just spiritualism and stuff. And next thing you know, you kind of like don't like anything that's physical like that. I guess I don't know. I'm just the type where I don't I try to teach these men, stop caring so much about physical. Women really care more about your mentality. Sure. I've always been successful with women without being a big looking or nice looking guy.
So what I would, the way I would say it is, if you were to ask 100 men, was Margot Robbie attractive in Wolf of Wall Street? Was Selma Hayek attractive in Dusk Till Dawn? Or was Vivica Fox or Halle Berry attractive? Men 100% out of 100% would say yes, they were attractive. Because as men, we're kind of all attracted to the same thing. It's a 0.7 hip to waist ratio. It's facial symmetry, signs of youth, yada, 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 those things, right? So why men have sex, maybe there's 4 reasons. Why women have sex, according to Dr. David Buss and Cindy Messon, there's 237 reasons. Okay, so it's called negative kurtosis on a normal distribution. My whole life I live off a normal distribution. So this would be a regular normal distribution. If you made the top wider and it went out like that, that would be what's called negative kurtosis. Women have more reasons why they're attracted to men. So I know some women, but maybe that for whatever reason, they only date monsters, huge roided up guys. I'm sure you've seen this.
Yeah.
I'm sure guys out there have been very frustrated when you really liked a girl and you see her boyfriend and he's got tattoo sleeves, but you don't have tattoo sleeves or a neck tattoo or a tattoo on his face. And you're like, how the fuck I'm losing out to that clown? What the fuck's going on? And you start to realize that women's deviation as to what they're attracted to it changes. But these are all different signs from an ancestral period or from a Pleistocene period. These would replicate signs of access to scarce resources. Does that make sense? Or access to provisioning. So, the tattoos would be a sign that I'm aligned with the right group. The muscles would be a sign also. The thing is, though, I used to play Madden. I used to be a semi-Madden, pro Madden player, right? Each Madden player had speed, acceleration, awareness, agility, all these different attributes. As a man, I say get them all up to 80. get a few up to 100. Does that make sense? And so for me, if I can look better in the gym, I should. And so the studies would say a 0.65 to a 1.65 to 1 shoulder to waist ratio is what women find to be most attractive in men.
Yeah.
And what would that indicate? That would indicate strong delts and a smaller waist, right? And what does that show? That shows a fit man who's able to throw a spear, to able to protect them, to compete with other men for different resources. That's the reason why women would find that attractive. And we as men would look at women and see a 0.72 hip to waist ratio, and that would show what is it most likely able to carry children. Does that make sense? And where do these numbers come from? For those of you who are looking for this, this was the original study. It was a 1989 study of 37 cultures by Dr. David Buss at the University of Texas at Austin. And in the culture, in the studies, several of these cultures had no exposure to Western anything, no billboards, no magazines, no Westernized food, no junk food, no television, no nothing. And in every one of these societies, men were more interested in casual sex than women were. Men found signs of facial symmetry more attractive in all of these cultures. So beauty is not arbitrary. There were several different things that we found that were the case. Women tended to find men who were taller than them to be more attractive. There were several of these things. And then this whole thing was then replicated again. This study was replicated again, showing again that beauty is not arbitrary. And these proclivities that we have in society are not cultural. They are evolutionary.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what a lot of people have a problem with. So the thing, to go back to what you're saying, that's just one slider.
Yeah.
Money is a slider.
Yeah.
Charisma is a slider. So let's look at what's his face? Mark Zuckerberg. Charisma, I'm going to give him like a 50, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Money, I'm going to give him a 99. He's got a 99 on money. Okay. Status, I'm going to give him a 99.
Yeah.
Alignments, I'm going to give him a 99. Okay. Musculature, I'm going to give him a 75. Do you see those kickboxing videos?
I haven't seen his new
Motherfucker's
stuff now.
doing jiu-jitsu now.
He's getting into it, though.
He's getting into it, right? So if we go through these different things, like obviously if you look at Jeff Bezos, the motherfucker's on TRT. I can smell the fucking testosterone coming off the guy. If you looked at him before when he was pudgy and now he's like ripped.
Yeah.
So looks, we're going to give him maybe a 75. Money, again, he's a 99. Charisma, he's actually a charismatic dude. Jeff Bezos is a good interview, man. Jeff Bezos 85, somewhere around there. Elon Musk, charisma, we're going to give him a 95. Intelligence, a 95. Money, we're going to give him a 95. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No gym.
Physical, but no gym.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? There's these attributes. Now, if you get a 99 in one of these, that can carry you to the finish line. You can be dumb as shit and play small forward for the Lakers. Well, this is a bad example. You can, because I like the small forward of the Lakers. He's one of my favorite players. But you can play small forward for the Kings, okay? And you can be dumb as shit. And the hottest girl in Sacramento is like, okay, I want to be with him. Because why? Because you're tall, you have money. So these sliders, you got up to 99. My whole thing is, especially for the looks, money, status, black pill doomer guys, I would just say, let's max out as many of these as we can. Can we get the shoulder, even if I'm 5'6", can I get the shoulders to waist to be 1.65 to 1? Because the science shows us this. Does that make sense?
I'm scared of them getting stuck into a cycle of insecurity. That's what bothers me, is because, yeah, you can get into a gym and I'd say probably 70 to 80% of the people, it does good for them.
Yeah.
But it's the guys who are in that 10 to 20% that I think that get into a cycle of insecurity. And then another thing is, I know so many guys over the last decade of my life that got heavily into the gym. Well, I got heavily into finances and heavily into business. And it's just like, and in my opinion, I think I'm going the more correct route. And I don't know. Connors Murphy talks on these things way more, and like the negatives of insecurities and like steroid usage mostly. And like one more thing, I also really hate the guys, and I'm not talking about you at all, but the guys who are like the steroid users that are like, you need to go buy this shake, you need to go buy this. To me, they're the exact same as the girls with the fake ass selling the waist trainer.
Have you guys seen Chris Hemsworth's new fitness product? Why do you not look like Chris Hemsworth? Because I didn't buy Anavar. That's why I don't look like Chris Hemsworth.